Hi guys, we are Group 1. Thanks for watching our presentation. And today our topic is international investment.
Hello everyone. Under the development of global economic integration, the automobile manufacturing industry gradually withdraws from the Australian market.
Today, we will find out 3 factors why General Motors Corporation decides to shut down the manufacturing line in Australia.
The history of Holden dates back to 1856, when James Alexander Holden started as a saddlery business in Adelaide, South Australia.
In the 1920s, as Ford first set up a production line in Australia, in order to compete with Ford, General Motors began to find partners and target the Holden.
Later in 1931, General Motors successfully acquired Holden and changed its name to General Motors Holdens Limited, and in 1948 introduced the first Holden production car. However, in 2008, Mitsubishi has already closed its production line in Australia. After that, GM Holden announced that it will shut down its auto manufacturing line in 2017 and switch to selling imported cars.
Why? Are we going bankrupt? Our products are so perfect.
Things should not be like this. What's wrong?
Oh my God. What about my job? I have to make money to support my family. Who will arrange future work? How could it become this way? Can anyone tell me why? So, what is the reason that Holden manufacturing line will be shouted down? Holden was so popular in Australia, they have more than 50% market share.
Based on the analysis, there are 3 decisive factors result the board directors of GM make this decision. In terms of excessive labor costs, low import tariffs, and the fluctuations of foreign currency.
Well, the first reason is that we costs $3,750 more to manufacture a Holden in Australia than a comparable car overseas, with $2,000 of that due to pure labor costs. It is double of Europe, and 4 times the cost in Asia.
Over the decade to 2012, on average, labor costs per unit of output rose 3.25% a year in Australia. That is more than twice the 1.4% annual growth in the decade to 2001. It tells us that wages were rising much faster than labor productivity. The gap between wage growth and productivity growth in Australia was easily the highest among the 10 largest Western economies. Unit labor costs rose 2.6% a year in Britain and Canada, 1.9% in the US, France and Korea, but just 0.5% in Germany and -1.7% in Japan. Growth across the whole OECD averaged 1.6%.
Well, let me put it in this way. When costs rise faster here than in other countries, it weakens Australia's competitiveness. The second reason is that tariff rate for Australia's car industry is one of the lowest in the world. At just 5%, it applies to passenger and light commercial vehicles and 4-wheel drives. It is even lower than 5% for some countries under bilateral or regional trade agreements, with ASEAN, the United States, New Zealand, Chile, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand.
Actually, Australian tariffs used to be just as high. In the early 1980s, the import duty here was close to 60%. Imports were prohibitively expensive, so even British Leyland, Roots, Chrysler, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Renault and VW go into Australian market, all of them cannot competitive with Holden, which designed and produced domestically. However, policy was changed. The reduction of import costs has made Holden lose its biggest advantage. The increase in domestic labor costs we mentioned earlier has made the situation even worse. Therefore, Holden has been losing money in recent years.
Holden's struggle against a declining Japanese yen. Overnight, Japan's central bank has devalued its currency by almost 20% to help its exporters. Well, it had created competitive challenges for GM.
So you mean, the fluctuation of foreign exchange rate is the next reason?
Bingo. That is why we're seeing more pressure in those markets, Southeast Asia and Australia, than in the US. We made a $100 million loss in the second quarter of this year.
How was it happen?
In a simple way, is that the price of Holden's vehicle is much higher than the similar type vehicle imported from Japan because the Japanese yen is cheaper. So Japanese cars have greater appeal to consumers. Holden loses its market competitiveness and cannot bring profit to the parent company. Therefore, the best way for the directors is to turn it off.
Okay. We have previously described the international factors concerning GM Holden shutting down production. Let us summarize.
Let me conclude. Through the analysis of the above cases, it can be seen that high labor costs, Australia's low tariffs, and the depreciation of the yen all contributed to Holden's decision to shift manufacturing from the Australian market.
I want to add something. As the parent company of Holden, General Motors' profits meet Holden's operating conditions. Therefore, GM's profits will also be shocked when Holden Australia loses money.
Through the analysis of the above cases, it can be seen that high labor costs, Australia's low tariffs, and the depreciation of the yen all contributed to Holden's decision to shift manufacturing from the Australian market.
As the parent company of Holden, General Motors' profits meet Holden's operating conditions.
Therefore, GM's profits will also be shocked when Holden Australia loses money.
Well, do you make sense about our presentation?
Well, thanks for watching. We hope you can enjoy it.
If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us as much as possible.
Thank you all.
Best wishes.